Hi there. Welcome to our online Lecture 5 of Instructional Media and Technology. We're going to discuss learning management systems, and I'll demo several of them for you today. But first off, we need to answer the question, what is a learning management system, or LMS for short? So here is my simplified definition. An LMS is a software platform that facilitates student participation in online activities. So MyMaranatha would be the most familiar example to you of a learning management system, but it's by far not your typical LMS, even for colleges, because it integrates with everything. That's where you register for classes and fill out forms and look up stuff. That's where you applied to come to MBU. So it's sort of this one-stop shop for everything on campus. So the coursework area within MyMaranatha is a bit more like your traditional LMS. That part of MyMaranatha is not as robust as some learning management systems out there. There are maybe fewer activities to choose from, and it can be a little clunky at times, but that's the trade-off that Maranatha has chosen for having everything in the same place for convenience. So I emphasize the word student because there are lots of other educational systems out there. And a key distinguishing feature of an LMS is that students are the primary user. So the teacher can set it up and maintain it for students to use, but if the teacher or the office staff is using it to track or assess students, track grades, attendance, things like that, then it would be called a student information system, not a learning management system. So just so you understand the difference between those two, one is student interactive, the other is primarily behind the scenes. For example, Calvary uses a program called RenWeb to track attendance, send out grade reports, automate notifications, and it also syncs with the Wisconsin Department of Instruction's system for voucher programs. So teachers can go on there and post homework schedules, but students don't typically participate in online educational activities on it. So it's not a learning management system. Instead, it would be a student information system. And going back to the MyMaranatha example, MyMaranatha kind of blends the two. It has a section that's a learning management system, but it also has a bunch of other things that are not really learning management systems. So just so we clear up the difference between those two concepts. So what is a learning management system used for? Well, originally they were developed for online learning. As that started becoming something that colleges were exploring primarily, eventually colleges started saying, hey, well, we can use this in our actual in-person college classroom because we can use this to facilitate online tests and quizzes and other student activities. And so it kind of caught on in college classrooms, and then, people who learning to be teachers took it to their classrooms. And so now it's used by all levels of education. Now there are some learning management systems that have been developed to focus on specific niche audiences. Like, for example, Seesaw is one that we'll look at that is geared toward early elementary. Others, like Google Classroom, are designed to just be super simple, easy to use. But learning management systems are not just used for online learning. They, of course, can be a lifesaver during a pandemic or a snow day, as we've seen, but they can also be used in class for engaging activities or for homework to give students more options than just, working through a homework sheet. In classrooms, they can add a lot of different rich options. So let's take a look at some of those benefits of using a learning management system. First of all, they give students practice with technology. Students live in a world surrounded by technology. They encounter technology in every facet of their lives, and school should be no different. Rather than avoiding robust academic technology, educators should look to create engaging experiences and give students experience with the tools that they need to be familiar with today. And you'll be amazed at how quickly and easily even the youngest children can use a learning management system to get involved in learning activities. Number two, we can encourage students to take ownership of their learning using an LMS. So we've talked about this, and we want students to be intrinsically motivated in their learning. We want them to pursue learning because they see the value of it. And an LMS can help with this by giving a bit of transparency into the learning process and encourage active learning so you can get students involved in taking ownership by getting involved themselves. You can give easy access to course materials, reports, ultimately helping students track their progress by building in learning maps, progress charts, student goals, individualized even for students, into the learning management system. And this helps students see the big picture of their learning so that they can take ownership of it. Number three, you can use an LMS to help you organize course materials. Simply put, you can use an LMS as an information hub. You can keep copies of handouts, lesson plans, important information that students can go back to and study. You can post homework there in case the dog eats the homework so they can print off a new copy. And if you make it user-friendly and give students to go back to it regularly, it can become the hub for class information, the place where students automatically go when they need to check on information and plan for what they're learning. So ultimately, it becomes a great organizing tool for the classroom. And then finally, you can use an LMS as an opportunity to expand learning opportunities. So for example, if you have Chromebooks in the classes, as many classes do, this would work very well in sync with Google Classroom. You can have in-class activities that are facilitated by the LMS. So for example, you could group students into teams for collaborative type projects. And Google Classroom works really well with this. There are collaborative tools that Google builds right into them, these collaboration apps, which we'll discuss in more detail in the discussion forum this week. But using the learning management system helps you facilitate so many different activities within the classroom. Another thing that you can do is offer choice in assignments using the learning management system, either in the classroom or outside of the classroom. Or you can set up additional activities. We've talked about students that are ahead or behind in the zone of proximal development. Well, you can set up things specifically for a student to help them catch up. Or you can add additional areas for students to explore if they finish up and ahead of others. So you can have all kinds of resources that you post there. And this can be something that you build over time. I mean, you're not going to have all of this stuff initially set up for your first class, but you can always keep on adding stuff. And as you focus on specific students and say, you know, I need to add a little something extra to help that student. Or here's a list of resources that students can use that will help them as they research a topic for homework. The learning management system can really extend your reach as a teacher. You know, we've talked about that as really the goal of educational technology, is to extend your teacher ability. So learning management systems can be a great tool for your classroom. I just want you to be familiar with several of the most popular learning management systems that are used in schools across the US. So as you can see from this chart, Google Classroom is the most popular, followed then by Moodle, and then Schoology, which is growing quickly and could take over a large chunk of the market before long. And then Canvas comes in at fourth place. So now we're going to go through just a quick demo of each of these. I hope to show you some of their advantages so you can understand how you could potentially use it in a given situation. We'll look at a couple additional ones as well that I think show a lot of potential for specific applications that you may be interested in. So let's go through some of those now. So this is Google Classroom. As you can see, it's very simple, straightforward. You can just easily add assignments. Typically, those are going to link to Google Apps where the students can collaborate or do various things. And you can also set up discussion questions, which are kind of like discussion forums. And that's pretty much it. There's not a lot you can do with it, but what it does well, and it's very simple and straightforward. I'm not going to take the time to walk through Moodle, even though it is one of the most popular learning management systems. I'll just show you this example of something I've used Moodle for. I built this test system for building co-curricular transcripts to give students credit for what they do outside of the classroom. And so far we haven't been able to really integrate it, but this is just an example of how Moodle can be extremely customizable. And that's one of the reasons it's so popular, especially in larger schools, is that it can be very much adapted to whatever you want it to be used for. Schoology is one of my favorite learning management systems. As you can see, it's very clean, easy to navigate, but it does have many different kinds of activities, as you can see in this list, including simply adding assignments that can be used for helping students track their grades. They can upload artifacts and track their progress against various learning objectives built into the system. So that's really nice. Another thing, teachers can add lots of high quality content using this page designer. That's what we're going to focus on when we do Project 1, using the Schoology page designer app, and show you how you can add some really nice content like this into your learning management system. You can also add badges in Schoology, and those can be some that are built into the system, or you can upload images and create your own badges to award to students. Again, a way of being transparent about student learning and helping students to track their progress. Canvas is an excellent choice for a learning management system, and it is a very full-featured LMS that is actually available for free to teachers. Everything connects to modules within Canvas, so you have this centralized hub and you can connect assignments to it, quizzes, pages, other discussion forums, things like that. Everything connects back to the modules, which is a really nice class planning area. You can also connect to outcomes and track progress. Those show them how they're improving in various competencies. And Canvas has a really nice collaboration area, which connects to Google applications and allows students to be involved in collaborative assignments. So those are some really nice options for your classroom. As promised, I want to show you one more. This is Seesaw, which is really designed for younger elementary students. It's really set up like a blog, so not much navigation. Everything's pretty much streamed onto the home page, but you can add examples of student work. You can invite students to add their own examples of work that they're doing. You can post your own assignments asking students to do. There's no grading or anything like that within it, but it all goes into that blog stream. You can also add activities that are in this very large library, some pre-designed stuff as well into your class, and just give your younger elementary students some interaction in a learning management system that's not too difficult for them. And you can also kind of rate them and their progress as they post in different examples of work so that they can get feedback. Okay, I hope this was a helpful session for you to kind of understand what learning management systems are and how they can help you in the classroom. And hopefully these little snapshots gave you an idea of what they're like and took a little bit of the fear factor out of them, so that someday when you have an opportunity, a need for one of these in your classroom, you'll kind of have an idea of where to go.